Hey traders, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Friday, November 6th. Happy Friday, and welcome back for another daily market recap. In today's video, we're going to be discussing S&P's 500, the S&P 500's best week since April, and we'll also touch on Biden closing in on the presidency. Looks like he's gaining in Pennsylvania and a few other states as well. He's basically in the lead, with still a lot more votes to be counted. But before we jump into the content, make sure to smash the like, hit the subscribe button, and tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future updates. So we're going to make this video a little bit longer today. It's going to be a weekly recap as well, with the weekly candle close, and it's a very important week. So I'll give my thoughts and my analysis on S&P and some. We'll cover the cannabis space as well. We had a huge day in the cannabis realm, and we changed the monthly trend on Canopy, and we had a huge short squeeze there. I also did a video on that as well. You can check that out. But huge short squeeze today. We'll take a look at some news and events first before we jump into some charting. So on the list, S&P 500 closes flat, but posts best week since April, even with election undecided. We also saw that Biden is leading in Pennsylvania, like I mentioned, and we should have a pretty good idea by the end of the day or next week for sure who's going to win that. But if it is a contested election, Trump's already going through legal action. So we'll see. This could drag on a lot longer than any of us anticipated. McConnell and Pelosi are once again at odds over the size of the stimulus package for the global issue at hand, without saying that word. So we're starting to see a little bit more talk ramping up, but it's probably going to be a skinny bill at this point. We also saw that Mark Kelly defeated Arizona GOP Senator Martha McSally, and that was a key pickup for the Democrats, and the Senate is now tied at 48. So again, we could see way more hype in the MJ sector if we see the Senate claimed by the Democrats and the presidency and the majority in the House. It's looking real good. We also saw that job growth was stronger than expected for October. Unemployment rate slides to 6.9%. Non-farm payrolls increased by 638,000. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had forecasted 530,000 and 7.7% respectively. Moving on, we saw Canadian jobs recovery was stalled in October on renewed closures. We also saw that the US topped 120,000 new cases on Thursday, a single day record. And Maine tightens their mask mandate. We also saw Aurora Cannabis up almost 100% today. Congrats to the bulls there. I did a video on that. You can check that out for a little bit more in-depth analysis on Aurora. And that was earlier today. And other pot stocks surge as well. So we saw double digit against across the board. We saw Canadian MJ start the day off in the lead, and then US MJ caught up at the end of the day. And we'll take a brief look at that in just a moment. But let's take a look at some charts. So SPY today, we closed within that pennant. So this weekly equilibrium, we have the high, low, lower high, higher low. We need to be scouting a weekly lower high, and we could be potentially setting it. We did have a very bullish candle though on that weekly candle. And let's just take a look at, I highlighted this in my video yesterday, and I've highlighted it quite a few times now, but you can see that the monthly RSI has been trending down since the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. So 2018, 19, 20, 21, it's been almost 3 years that this monthly RSI has been trending down. So we are setting a clear pattern of lower highs and lower lows. And we are approaching that resistance line as well. And you can see on the monthly that we were looking for a monthly higher low. It could potentially still be a monthly bull flag at this point. If we can break above 358.75, then that will confirm the monthly bull flag. And we also have EMA 12 support there on the monthly at 320.30. We have weekly support at 322.60. And then another weekly support level at 319.80. So we're eyeing that weekly equilibrium as the most likely scenario. So are we potentially topping out that could be the case. We're seeing decreasing volume here from the bulls, a little bit of an indecision candle there on the daily. And we did form a higher low. Could it be a potential bull flag? It could be. And just drawing this out, fib retracement off the lows. So huge daily bounce. We have to change the daily trend. Step number one, to be confident that the weekly higher low is set. We haven't done that yet. So we did form a little bit of a higher low. I would like to see a little bit more pullback, but anything above the 340 level is going to be a possibility of a daily bull flag. So keep an eye on that pattern as well. So let's take a look. So we are decreasing volume on the daily. On the hourly chart, I said at the end of the day yesterday, and in my video, my daily market recap from yesterday, I said we could be potentially setting our daily lower highs and be looking toward daily consolidation. And to be confident of that, we needed to see an hourly downtrend. And with SPY's opening, when SPY opened today lower at 346.72 was the low of the day, that confirmed an hourly downtrend with a new lower low. And we haven't changed the hourly trend back bullish. So it's looking like daily consolidation is underway. And we did break the low of the previous day of yesterday's candle. So certainly looking like we have daily consolidation underway. But again, we sort of forming a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here as well on the hourly. Usually that happens at the end of a downtrend, but we are technically in an hourly downtrend here with that drop from yesterday. So we could be eyeing a potential inverse head and shoulders as well. So we'll look to break resistance of, I'd say 352.20. If we can get above that, then that would confirm. And then we'd look to see follow through on that as well. But taking a look at the end of the day, activity on SPY. So we had a little bit of a sell-off into the end of the day. And then we were in a 5-minute downtrend. And then we blasted off right before the end. So about 20 minutes before the close. And then they slammed it into the close again. But we are up a bit here after hours. So that was notable. Taking a look at the weekly chart. So last week we closed the week very, very bearish with the MACD and the stochastic, and we closed below the 10-week moving average. This week we did close above the 10-week moving average, but the MACD and the stochastic are still bearish at this point, and they're not saying the same, sending the same signals as the price. And we could be potentially entering a corrective wave here on, see, with the high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. Could this be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern? We're eyeing that possibility for sure. And like I said, the weekly chart, very bullish that we closed above the 338, which is the 10-week moving average, but MACD and stochastic are lagging. Let's take a look at the daily. So we are well above the 50, the 100, or sorry, the weekly. This is the daily moving averages. So we're well above the 50, 100, and the 200-day moving average. Take a look at the weekly moving averages. We're well above the 50, 100, and the 200 weekly moving averages. And like I said, on the daily chart, we did see the MACD cross bullish, and we're looking for a daily higher low at this point, and anything above the 322.60 will give us a daily higher low. So bulls have tons of space, about 10%, that they could drop and still just be looking for a daily higher low. But the more we pull back, the more we'll favor an equilibrium and a tightening range if this daily bull flag doesn't play out. But it's going to be a very interesting start to the week next week. Let's just take a quick look and see. So SPY wasn't really, today, the inverse correlation to MJ wasn't really there. So obviously the bulls were out full steam ahead today. And let's just take a look at gold as well. Gold on the weekly. So we can see that we got 20 hours left on that weekly candle, but we are breaking bullish out of this descending triangle pattern that we've been watching for a while now. And that's generally a bearish pattern that breaks to the downside. So we are breaking bull out of that. We saw that Bitcoin broke bullish, hit levels not seen since 2018. But you can see that we're topping out a little bit here. We hit just under 16,000, 15,977, currently trading at 15,561, down a little under 0.5%. So Bitcoin bulls in full control. EMA 12 and the daily is holding perfectly. And we're in a daily, weekly, and monthly uptrend. Bulls in full control of the longer term chart on BTC. I have a position in ADA. I took a position yesterday at 9.7, so 9.7 cents, and up over 10% on that position today. So very pleased about that one. But like I said, gold breaking out of that descending triangle. We'll see how it closes the week here, but certainly going to be interesting. And we are in a weekly uptrend now on gold, which I mentioned in my previous videos as well. So let's move on to some other charts here. So DXY, the dollar index. So we are just looking for a weekly higher low compared to 91.74. That's the most important weekly support. And it could still be a monthly bear flag at this point. So if we do break that low of 91.74, we'll look to a monthly bear flag to confirm. But if we do see this drag on with a contested election and Trump fights it, that could delay the stimulus bill even longer. It depends if they do a skinny bill, a much smaller version of what they are proposing or what the economy needs in terms of, you know, what all the economists are saying. But we are just looking for a weekly higher low. So we'll look at the daily chart. We had tons of room to form a daily higher low, but we broke to a new low. So big fail there on the dollar bulls, but we need to bounce. We'll expect to bounce here at some point soon over the next week, I would say. And we would like to get as big of a bounce as possible, change the weekly or change the daily trend. That'll give us confidence that the weekly higher low is set. And then we'll look to zoom out as well to the monthly, just to see if we can get a monthly bounce going. Still gonna be, we still got all of this month to go. So all of November. So we could potentially see these bear flags on the monthly confirm, or we could invalidate them. There's still lots of time left in this month. On the hourly chart, we're in an hourly downtrend with lower highs and lower lows, and EMA 12 acting as resistance. Let's just see how we ended the day. We're in a 15-minute uptrend, 5-minute uptrend into the end of the trading day, which makes sense as equities and Bitcoin was selling off a little bit. And I just want to see what gold did into the end of the day as well. Yeah, 5-minute downtrend, and looking to set a 5-minute higher low and higher high, change the trend on the 5-minute. Let's take a look at IWM. We'll run through these a little bit faster. IWM, bearish day today, and didn't break the low of the previous candle, so it doesn't look like daily consolidation is underway yet. And keep an eye out for a potential head and shoulders there on the hourly. But we were looking for an hourly higher low. We broke to a new high, which I believe was an all-time high. It was, broke to a new high, all-time high at 166.08. And we're looking to form, like I said, that higher low. We haven't confirmed an hourly downtrend yet. And we're just looking for that most important support on the hourly is 163.33. Lose that, we confirm, we lose the uptrend, and bulls want to see, let's see in the end of the day, 5-minute, yeah, we did confirm a 5-minute trend change here into after hours. So we'll see if that can hold going into next week. Let's take a look at the SMH, the semiconductors. So new all-time high, straight V-shaped recovery from the lows. Never broke the low of the previous candle, couple gaps in the charts as well. We did see a little bit more volume there on the daily compared to yesterday, but would just anticipate a daily higher low at some point here, as we know that daily consolidation is likely due with daily RSI approaching overbought. See what it did into the end of the day, blasted to new heights. So clearly SMH is one of the stronger sectors right now at the moment. And we'll take a look at QQQ. So QQQ, very bullish weekly candle closed near the high of the week. High was 295.39. We closed at 294.61. So QQQ, if I had to rate them, SPY, QQQ, then SMH as the strongest, but also just in a weekly equilibrium here as well on QQQ. And QQQ could be forming that daily bull flag and higher low. We did we did close the day with a hammer, so that's notable, but we are decreasing bull volume here. So, and we are under the 20 period moving average as well. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. So again, we broke to a new low, but we haven't changed, and this could be an hourly inverse head and shoulders as well. So keeping an eye on that as well. Going into the end of the day, what did it do? So we blasted into the end of the day, a little bit of a sell-off before the close, and we are up a little bit after hours. So we were in a 5-minute downtrend though. So we'll look to break 295.35. That'll be the most important resistance going into next week. So that is where we stand on QQQ. Let's just see the weekly chart here. So on the weekly, we did close above the 278.85, which is the 10-week moving average. And MACD and stochastic are lagging again, similar to SPY. So not quite convinced yet that we could see more upside to the long term. We generally want to see the weekly chart all trending in the same direction, MACD, stochastic crossing bullish, to be confident in very long positions. So on the daily, closed above the 50, 100, and 200-day moving average. Again, a little bit lower volume today, but MACD crossing bullish on the daily, and the weekly moving averages were well above those as well. But keep an eye out for those weekly lower highs, as that is the most likely scenario given how hard we run on the daily chart. We would expect some sort of a pullback here. If this is all we get and we confirm a daily bull flag, then we'll look to 297.46 as the next resistance, and then the all-time high at 303.50. But most important short-term support is the low of the day at 289.83. And like I said, we have tons of room all the way down to 266.97. So we have tons of room. We got about 10% to form that daily high or low. So anything above 266.97 is just a daily high or low on the daily chart. Let's take a look at US oil. So US oil daily consolidation underway, and we'll see if this ends up being a bull flag. Let's just take a quick look. So we are still potentially in bull flag territory, but we're seeing Europe locking down. We're seeing more states imposing mask mandates. We're seeing Canadian provinces getting hit and adding more restrictions as well. I know Manitoba is getting a huge influx of cases as well. So we'll have to monitor this into the end of the day, or into next week and into the end of the month. But hourly downtrend on US oil, 4-hour downtrend as well, with a lower high and lower low. So like I said, daily consolidation definitely underway. We'll be confident that the daily high or low is set once we change the 4-hour trend. So most important resistance on the 4-hour time frame for me is going to be 38.51. And then most important short-term support is going to be 37.24. Break that, and then we got a little support level here at 36.56, and then nothing all the way down to 33.63. So that's where we stand on oil. XBI, let's take a quick look at this. Daily consolidation underway. Home Builders ETF, XHB, daily consolidation underway. Still a potential daily bull flag. XLE, daily consolidation underway as well. Most important support is 28.77. Closed at 28.93 above that. XLF, the financial sector, didn't break the low of yesterday, so daily consolidation is not underway. Real estate trust ETF, XLRE, daily consolidation underway. Healthcare, indecision candle, doji, but we did break the low of yesterday as well, so daily consolidation underway there. We'll want to see hourly trend changes back to the bulls to be confident that the daily high or low is set, and then we'll look up to the resistance here at 111.42. Let's just take a quick peek over here as well. So XLV on the weekly closed above the 10-week moving average. MACD and stochastic haven't crossed. XBI, so closed above the 10-week. MACD's crossing bullish, but stochastic is bearish. XLF above, so MACD basically flat, and stochastic hasn't crossed bullish, so not seeing a complete convinced picture here yet, but we're starting to see IWM trend up. The MACD's crossing bullish, stochastic looking to cross bullish, and we're above the 10-week moving average. That's where we stand on there. XLF, let's see on the daily, above the 50, 100 XLV, well above XBI, well above IWM, well above all the moving averages, SMH, well above. So again, we're going to expect some daily consolidation and some higher lows at some point. And given the size of these moves, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a nasty pullback at some point next week. So that's where we stand on the global indices. Let's take a look at some individual stock charts. So I've been watching this pattern on Microsoft and Amazon. Let's just take a look at those weekly closes. So on Amazon, Apple's following the same pattern as QQQ with a weekly equilibrium, high, low, lower, high, higher, low, potential lower high being set. A lot of the big tech names are like that, but Amazon's forming a weekly head and shoulders. We saw that Jeff Bezos unloaded $3 billion worth of Amazon shares, and it could potentially follow through next week, but it could potentially take a couple of weeks for this to follow through. And excuse me while I have a Hexo Molo. These are amazing, by the way. I absolutely love Hexo products, and I'm a little dry, so just give me 1 second. All right, so looking at this weekly chart, this could potentially break bearish. If we lose 28.71, that's going to confirm the weekly head and shoulders bear break. And on Microsoft, same deal. We want to, if we break above 225.21, then chances of the daily, the weekly head and shoulders are diminished significantly. And if we break above the 232.86 all-time high, then obviously we negate that pattern. But right now, most important support on the weekly is 196.25, in my opinion. We do have a weekly higher low at 199.62. So that'll be support 1, support 2, 196.25. But that's the most important for me. If we lose that, we confirm we lose the weekly uptrend. And well, we haven't confirmed an uptrend yet, but we're very close to doing it. If we break above the 225.21, that confirms a weekly uptrend. But if we break below this 196, we could expect a lot more downside, potentially down here to the 175 level. So those patterns are still on watch. Let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla weekly equilibrium as well. Let's take a look at Goog, see how it closed off the week. So weekly uptrend, Goog's definitely standing out as the strongest with breaking to new highs, all-time highs, and very, very strong comparison to the rest of the $1 trillion club. So taking a look at MJ, the MJ sector. So we saw huge moves, short squeezes today in the cannabis space. And we saw that Andrew Cuomo said that they were on path to legalize in 2021. CGC broke to new highs this morning and changed the monthly trend for the first time since all-time highs. So taking a look at EMA 26, you can see that we're above EMA 2012 and 26, and this is the first time that's happened since all-time highs. So monthly uptrend, we're also in a weekly uptrend. We're also in a daily uptrend. Bulls in full control. Huge daily volume. We have earnings, Aurora and Canopy on Monday, so that's going to dictate whether or not we continue daily continuation or whether or not we see daily consolidation. And we'll be looking to the low, most important support of 2190, which is the low of the day today. But broke out of that channel that we were watching and clear bull break, and they're not really giving much of an opportunity for people to get positioned here, but this could be potential hourly bull flag. And going into the end of the day, obviously some profit taking, people de-risking a little bit going into earnings. But I did bring this up in the video today, but I'll bring it up again because CGC is the most important. But on the weekly, we have huge weekly volume, the most weekly volume since November 2019. And MACD stochastic blasting off. Taking a look at the daily moving averages. You can see we have a golden cross that happened, and we're crossing the 100-day moving average as well. So extremely bullish. MACD curling up on the daily. Taking a look at the weekly, we are approaching the 100 weekly moving average. We are pulling back at the 200 weekly moving average, but we did close just above it. 23.29 was the weekly 200 moving average, and we closed at 23.50. So very notable. I'm still holding my CGC. I have Hexo, Afria, Cron, and a bunch of other small cap names in the Canadian side. I also have a bunch of MSOs, Curaleaf, Cresco, Trueleaf. I've got BAM, a few other smaller caps as well. But that's where we stand. So let's just see. Top gainers today was Aurora. Like I said, Aurora was up almost 90% today. I did a video on that. You can check that out for a little bit more in-depth analysis on Aurora with some potential price targets. I also called out a potential level to look at potentially taking profits. A lot of people, my friends and in the group, our community, were asking about levels on where to potentially start to take some profit, and I basically called that out perfectly today for them. So if you haven't joined a community yet, an investment community, check out pursuitofwealthgroup.com or powgroup.ca. You can check us out for a 1-week free trial and learn more about that. So we had Hexo, second on the list, up 23%, 23.45%. Next, Tilray, T-God. Cron up big. Organogram up big. We have any red today? NSP, Labs was down. And RIV. So Canopy Rivers not joining in on the bull party today. Taking a look at, I also did a Hexo video today. You guys can check that out, but congrats to the bulls again who bought the dip from the negative earnings reaction. I was one of the people that bought that dip. And if you bought that dip, you were looking at about a 70% upside there in 5 days. And sorry, 6 days. And huge daily volume. We did have a huge upper wick. We got above the $1 mark, which we know is very crucial to their US listing on the NYSE and potentially could reverse the need of the reverse split. So reverse the reverse split, please, and thank you. But check out my video on Hexo to learn a little bit more about that. Looking at the US tickers, so MJNA up 74%, clearly the lead bull today. Ian up 60%, huge gains. MedMen up 27%. Chiron 19.5%. Acreage up 15%. BAM up 12. Cura up 7. Trueleaf up 3. So clearly US MJ stole the show today, seeing the most gains. But if we look at the most gains in terms of one individual ticker, it was ACB, Aurora, up 90% today. Again, check out my video on Aurora that I posted earlier today for my thoughts on it, where I think it's going. Is it investable, that type of thing, or is it just purely a day trade? So with that, that's pretty much all I want to highlight. Again, we could see Biden potentially win the presidency. We could see the Senate potentially be won by Democrats as well. If that happens and the majority of the House is still there, then we could see huge, huge upside on still to go on cannabis stocks. And just taking a look at CGC here, I want to bring up the monthly chart. So taking a look at the monthly, you can see we're above EMA 26 for the first time since the all-time high. Monthly uptrend, we pulled back at $25 today. It's at $24.98. We do have resistance at $25.97, and then nothing all the way up until $52.74. So keep in mind that we are in a monthly uptrend with a lack of resistance. If we get above the $25.97, lack of resistance, we could easily jump 70 to 80%, 100% to the all-time high from these levels. So certainly looking very, very good for the CGC and the overall cannabis bulls. And just to end things off, so again, I heard a bunch more stories about some potential protests and some Trump supporter groups that were standing, with guns and basically threatening civil war, saying it was a long time since we had a civil war. So that was a little bit disturbing, but just keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of a lot of pushback from the Trump campaign, and I could see this going very, very negative and dragging on for a very long time. And as we know, Trump is very stubborn, and he's not just going to walk away, and he's going to do everything he can to fight it. So just keep that in mind going into the beginning of next week. Again, it's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us for another daily market update on the pursuit of wealth. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, take some time off, get some rest, and we'll see you on Monday for another daily market recap. Make sure to hit the like, shows me some support, and consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to you next week.